Hey there, just dropping in to make a video to show an example of a Megafactory on 1.1. If you're looking to make a Megafactory in this game, it can be very difficult to get started. If you haven't completed Phase 3 before, then honestly I recommend that you just play the game normally for now and come back after completing Phase 3. Megafactories are generally something that you build late game. It's recommended that you at least unlock the Mark II Blueprint Designer, the Hover Pack, and Trains. These fundamentally change how you build out your factory once you unlock them, so it's important to have them before you start standardizing how you actually do your builds. You don't get the Hover Pack until Tier 7 during Phase 4, and it's a pretty crucial item to have to build complex blueprints and conveyor lifts. The Mark III Blueprint Designer isn't unlocked until halfway through the final tier, which makes it kind of unnecessary in my opinion, since you would already have some extensive Mark II blueprints to help you get to that point. To start with, it's important to understand a few concepts and keep them in mind when building a Megafactory. The first concept is that Satisfactory is a 3D game, unlike many other factory games. This means to efficiently use your factory space, you need to use height, length, and width. For length and width, this obviously means that you would want a large flat space to put your factory. In my example here, I built it over the ocean. But for height, the height limit in Satisfactory is actually very high, so building upwards is actually easier than building outwards in many areas. But in practice, a very tall factory is going to be less convenient to navigate without having some sort of extensive hypertube network or other kind of transport. Something similar to a cube is going to be the most efficient shape for a factory in this game. The next concept of building a Megafactory is to make your processing easily scalable. Scalability here means that it needs to have room to grow while also being convenient for you to add the additional processing. And that's why I ended up making these 5x5 blueprint modules, which have one input, output, and power connection. So the input and output of each module is directional in a way where you can line up as many modules in a row as the conveyor belt supports. This makes it easy and convenient to scale horizontally. If you make modules like this, it's important to start with the blender, since it's the tallest machine that will be processing products in your factory. Unless you're using refineries, but typically I keep refineries outside of the factory. This would make your modules about 4 meter walls high. Now that we understand the shape of our factory and assembly lines, we have to figure out which resources go where. To start planning this, the first step is to figure out which alternate recipes are really important to have. I ended up going with this list for my factory. These alternate recipes are generally just a lot more resource efficient, but some of them do introduce extra complexity into the resources that you need for your factory. One example of this is the silicon high-speed connector. It's a lot more efficient resource-wise, but if you leave it out, then you wouldn't really need to pipe in silicon or silica into your factory in the example that I'm giving here. Once I figured out the alternate recipes I was using, I created a Sankey diagram to help visualize and plan the flow of resources through my factory. You can find a lot of Sankey diagrams or similar tools for Satisfactory online already. I wanted all of my base resources to be on the ground floor and all my resources needing constructing, assembling, or manufacturing, aka the products, to take up the upper floors. After moving around some of the resources, I landed on there being 6 floors with 8 products per floor. The Sankey also helps to minimize travel distance for ingredients to the next stage of processing. Now that we have a blueprint for the shape of our factory and where the products are going to be processed, we can actually start building it out. You might notice that despite there being almost every product in the game moving around in this factory, there's not a ton of spaghetti belts just laying around, and this is because I'm using a subfloor and shaft system. The ingredients are transported through the subfloor and shafts so that the main walkable area is kept clean and tidy. For Megafactories, this is basically a requirement unless you want to be dodging conveyor belts every time you enter your factory. You can see that I use my plan derived from the Sankey diagram to set up my 5x5 modules inside my Megafactory. Some other things you can play around with is enclosing more parts of your factory to make it look cleaner and more like a typical shopping mall setup you might see online. This factory example only goes up through phase 4 simply because many of the phase 5 products start using a lot more unique ingredients. A phase 5 Megafactory could be set up using another Sankey diagram and repeating the steps mentioned earlier. I hope this helped you come up with new ideas for making an efficient Megafactory. Let me know in the comments if you want to see videos on my train setups or see my blueprints more in depth, or if you want to see more content in 1.2.